So I'm headed to church yet again. It seems like I've been doing that a lot recently. But today is the beginning of the UU 101 class, which I had no intention of attending because I taught it in a past life. So I don't need a UU 101. But the beautiful woman who did the interview for me when I joined the church mentioned that it's a wonderful opportunity to meet those who are joining the church at the same time I am, whether they have experience as a UU or not, and also to learn a lot about the personality of this particular congregation. Okay, well, I thought about that and I realized, yeah, it's a great opportunity to kind of like get to familiarize myself that much more with my chosen family. And I'm looking forward to the fact that there were two women that joined the drumming circle this past week that were also new to the drumming circle because they are new to the congregation. Although not everybody at the drumming circle was a UU. It was a mixed group of women. But anyway, these two have indeed just joined the church and they are taking part in the 101 class. So remember when I told you about that, that social anxiety thing that kind of kicks in? Well, the fact that I know the women who are teaching this, and I know at least two of the people that will be in the room. I have no idea how many there will be. It notches down my anxiety a lot. I also found that talking about the way I feel about entering big groups of people has actually helped me. It's kind of reminded me that for me, it's a matter of getting over that initial hesitation and the initial discomfort of being in a group of strangers. And in very rare instances in my life, has it then been an uncomfortable experience. And I coach people who have this level of anxiety. So I'm not talking about the level of anxiety that will continue throughout an entire encounter with a group, but that kind of stage fright at the beginning level of anxiety that you can always leave. You can always leave. There's nothing that says you can't change your mind at any given point. I think I've only changed my mind a couple times in my life that I just didn't want to be in the certain energy of the group I was with, or the place I went, whatever. But talking about this has reminded me of the advice I've given myself and others over the years that has to do with, give yourself credit for trying and see where it goes. And that helped me a lot this morning because I had my usual jitters and do I really want to set the alarm to get up early, get out of the house, give up my Saturday with Roger, or at least a good part of it, to spend time with strangers. Then I reminded myself, these people are not going to be strangers. They're, they call Unitarian Universalism the chosen faith. And I think that many of us, if not all of us, following various pagan traditions, can relate to that word. A chosen faith. Not when someone put upon you or had a certain set of expectations that came with it. But they're working on the road here. Some of the roads have had problems from that last storm where they've been washed out to a certain extent. So we're running into quite a bit of road construction as they put roads back together. I always have a lot of respect when you go through these situations for the flaggers, the people who stand all day long. I had a friend once who did that, and she had to buy her own flag and her own reflective gear. Nothing came with him. And there's a little Jack Russell. I don't know if you can see it. He's bouncing around in the car in front of me, a little Jack Russell. Jack Russells are so good at bouncing around, aren't they? Just going from one side to the other. So hopefully this doesn't make me late for church. But I guess I was reflecting going in that talking to you, it's putting his little face out the window. It looks like it's a Jack Russell Terrier mix because it has a little wiry face. Oh, a Jack Russell and a Terrier. Oh, yeah, you must be a lot of fun to live with, little boy or little girl. So, Yeah, do you ever smile and wave at the folks who are doing that job? And you'll see a good number of them will wave back, because it ain't easy doing what they do. At least they don't have to worry about rain or snow today. It's cold, and it's got a bit of a breeze, but it's a beautiful day. Oh, this is a utility, man. They're putting in a whole bunch of stuff underground. What's happening here? It's a dang shame. It's probably happening. A lot of you who live in rural areas, I'm sure it's happening to you too. As farmlands are being sold, you know, this was a farm over here not too awfully long ago. That's probably the farmhouse, but then behind it are all these new houses that were built. So there's an awful lot of land changing now from farming over to housing developments. Yeah, it's the forward momentum of the population growth, and not a good thing, but it is what it is. The next generation isn't getting the same money off of farming because so much is being brought in from overseas, and you know, they want to, you know, get their education and make a good life for their families, and farming isn't necessarily the way to do it anymore. Oh well. Yeah, it's sad when I think about it. Even the road that comes back to where we live, 2 of the farms have been sold recently, and there's now housing developments put on it. It won't change out where we are because there's state land, protected land, wildlife refuge around us. So we won't see a change in our immediate area, but driving to and from our house now, even in the 3 years we've lived here, we see a lot of changes. Okay, let's get this thing done, and I will let you know how it went, of course, because now I'm keeping up to date on what seems like every detail of my life. And, well, not really. The parts of it that I'm comfortable sharing or capturing with my camera. But I'll let you know how the meetup with the other new people to my congregation goes. So, that was a wonderful time at the 101 class. Had a good time. Met some interesting people. I was the youngest one in the room. That's something I'm really having to get used to where we live now. I was used to being the oldest person in the room where we used to live. But you can imagine one of the things about being in a place that tends to have a lot of retirees is there's an awful lot of life experience and wisdom in the represented by everybody who lives in the area. And in an environment like that where you're talking about spirituality and life experience, oh, the stories folks can tell. It was a really good experience. I'm going to do some writing. I may do a topic video about words and some things that came up speaking to one of the people there who had a moment of panic when she saw the Unitarian Universalist principles, because while Unitarian Universalists are so big on saying we don't have creed or dogma, we then provide you with a set of principles we're all supposed to agree to. And of course she didn't. And she asked questions, and I could kind of tell that the answers she got weren't comfortable to her. And the reason I picked up on that is she was asking the same kind of questions I asked when I first was experiencing Unitarian Universalism. So afterwards, I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, I'd love to have just a couple minutes to talk to you, when we end up stepping aside and spending quite a bit of time talking. And absolutely delightful. Actually, she was younger than me. She was in her 40s, so she was the baby in the group. And I just felt like she had some of the same concerns that I had had when I first started investigating Unitarian Universalism, because, you know what, a set of beliefs, because even though traditional Wicca might seem like it's a set of beliefs, I've never found that to be true in practice and in reality with the brothers and sisters I circled with. So I'm thinking a lot about words, and I think I'm going to, if you're a Season of the Seeker person, you know words is like a thing that I'm constantly thinking about and exploring the power of words, and sometimes the misleading power of words. So we're headed out to dinner because I decided I wanted to go to dinner. And it's cold, but it's a beautiful day. We just got back from a golf cart ride. It was so cold I didn't take any pictures because I didn't want to take my hands out of my pockets. That's how cold it is. But it's a beautiful day. It feels like winter, and that's good because we seem to be cheated of winter this year. Not that we don't whine and complain about winter when it's at its most, but I miss it this year. It hasn't been a full-on winter except for like these little brief spurts. So it feels like winter today, and it feels good. Very refreshing. So we're headed out to dinner. And I'm going to journal about words when I'm back and settle down with my journal in front of me later.